At the midway point of the season, tomorrow's Texas Tech game loomed large. They only had one loss, and it was out of conference. The Red Raiders had made themselves appear to be a formidable opponent with a 1-point win against Abilene Christian and the aforementioned loss against Washington State to open the year. But it's okay, because they followed it up with a statement win against North Texas. Tech opens Big 12 play 3-0. Then the midpoint hits, and they continue to be true to their contender identity by giving up 59 points to a Baylor team that isn't very good. And bouncing back by taking a 31-14 lead against TCU, only to give the whole thing up and lose the game anyway. Turns out their most quality win is against Arizona State, who currently sits at 9th in the Big 12. Every time a talking point swings Tech's way, either further examination or Tech themselves will remind you that they are a mediocre team masquerading as a contender. When the term pretender first began being used in football lingo, this Texas Tech team is what they had in mind. So the Cyclones have no reason whatsoever to be scared of this game, regardless of what Tech fans on Twitter will tell you about having Tahj Brooks run all over you. It ain't going to happen. Today's Friday, November 1st. I'm Matt Menson, and welcome to the Cornfield Sports Pod. All right, with me on my chair to the left, guest today, subbing in for Blake, we've got Jonah Mononok.
Hey, guys. Feels good to be on the show.
Yes, good to have you. Hopefully we'll be able to get you back on here at some point again in the future. It's a football game here again tomorrow against Texas Tech. Y'all can see what my opinion on this game is. I think Tech is a paper tiger.
They probably are a paper tiger, but it's hard to not look at the history of Iowa State athletics and not think that there's absolutely no reason that something can go wrong, because it seems like something always goes wrong.
It's hard to look at the history of ISU athletics and compare this season to anything.
Absolutely, but still, that's something that's
this season is an outlier in every examination of the word. So trying to compare it to anything at this point is fruitless. We don't know what's coming. We just know that what we have is pretty darn good.
I mean, it's just fun. I haven't been able to go to a lot of games, but still, just being able to watch the games and be a part of the ones that I can, it's just really fun.
Yeah, the biggest question, if we're going to actually start getting a little bit more serious about this game here, which defense is the one that shows up for ISU? Is it the defense that, held Caleb Johnson to basically nothing in the second half against the team out east? Or is it the defense that let R.J. Harvey run for over 300 yards?
I feel like we got a little bit ahead of ourselves there. I think we were looking forward to the bye week, getting some people back healthy, maybe getting Cooper Ebel back, and just looking forward to the rest and relaxation and maybe get a little healthier. I just don't know if we were expecting UCF to come out, punch us in the face like they did, but
yeah, I think some of that, too, is Gus Malzahn coached teams always have a bizarre game in the middle of October on the road that they happen to play really well in. Usually that ends up being some kind of an upset win. Well, it's not October anymore, and Gus Malzahn did not get that win. I think that game happened to be Gus Malzahn's bizarre good game that ends up being the game that gets him extended when he probably otherwise shouldn't be.
I mean, we can't discount R.J. Harvey, too. He's a darn good running back. He's really good at what he does.
He's the most explosive running back in the league.
100%.
And that's a huge advantage that UCF had that Texas Tech does not have in this game coming up here tomorrow. Tahj Brooks is a good running back, don't get me wrong, but he is not explosive like Harvey is.
Okay, now to be fair, if Tech has Baron Morton back, he can actually throw a forward pass. UCF does not have a quarterback that can really throw a forward pass.
Every team has struggled to throw a forward pass against us. We have the best secondary in the league, and it's not even remotely close.
I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here a little bit.
I mean, that's that's the way that it works. But at some point, there's a difference in going against, the average defense in the Big 12 and then running into the teeth of the Iowa State secondary right now. Yeah, no team has found any way to be successful against them yet.
How long of a streak do you think Jontez Williams gets of interceptions in consecutive games? I think he's at 4.
I don't know. Tech would be a good one to continue that streak against.
Yeah.
They love to throw the ball. It's been kind of a weird year for Tech where they run the ball more than normal, but it's Tech. They run air raid. Mm-hmm. They love to throw the ball, so it'd be a good chance for Jontez to get another pick. Even if Tech does pick up a bunch of yards through the air, which that's kind of one of these interesting things is what happens when you put Texas Tech air raid against the best air defense in the Big 12. It's kind of that unstoppable force versus immovable object type of talk here.
I think if they just keep throwing the ball consistently, the bend don't break mentality of John Haycock is going to win out.
If they keep throwing, if Tech keeps throwing the ball is going to end up in Darian Porter's hands.
Oh, 100%.
That's what's going to end up happening. But even with that game with UCF and them getting over 300 rush yards against us, nearly half of that came on only 2 plays. And that was that R.J. Harvey explosiveness, the same explosiveness that Tahj Brooks lacks. Mm-hmm. He just doesn't have that. So, yeah, Brooks can still be dangerous. Yes, he is still on pace to crack 100,000, or not 100,000, goodness gracious. 100,000 would be absurd. 1,000 yards in the season tomorrow. But Harvey's already there. And Tahj Brooks has 30 more attempts than Harvey does. So he's significantly behind pace. He's got almost a solid yard less per carry than Harvey does. Now, on the opposite end of the coin here, the next best running back that Iowa State has faced so far this year, at least in conference, is Jaheim White from West Virginia. And he has significantly less yards than Brooks. He's barely over 500 rush yards on the year, but he also has significantly less touches.
It's absolutely coaching malpractice.
It is.
That he is not touching the ball more.
It is. He's more explosive than Brooks.
Yeah.
Jaheim White's got over 6 yards a carry. Brooks doesn't. Brooks is barely over 5.
It's just, I don't know what Neil Brown's doing over there.
But that's the thing is, UCF exploited us with explosiveness in the run game. West Virginia, Jaheim White's not as explosive as R.J. Harvey, but he's definitely more explosive than Tahj Brooks. And if they were not able to exploit the run game against us, then I don't see how Texas Tech is going to be able to do that when the only method that's been effectively demonstrated against the Iowa State defense has been just pure explosiveness.
And the thing I'd like to see, I mean, it's not really the defensive side of the ball, but we need to punch first for once in one of these games. Pretty much every single game this year, aside from the FCS game against North Dakota and against Arkansas State, the other team has thrown the first punch, and we've been playing from behind about first half, and then second half we just shut them down and just run away with it. But I want to see if you can get out ahead, get that first score, all of a sudden you could see what this team could really do in big-time games.
I don't know. There's a little bit of a psychological warfare kind of aspect that that Campbell's been playing with, though, where he gives the other teams just a little bit of hope for that first part of the first quarter, and then immediately takes it away.
You see,
he gives them just that little taste.
You see what happens, though, in that UCF game. You get down big really quick, and you're fighting and clawing, and Yeah, it worked out, but how many times is it going to happen again, especially against a higher quality opponent?
Well, then you got the opposite end of the spectrum, like Baylor, where you go on a 30 or a 28-3 run or something like that.
Yeah. As soon as it turned around for us in that one, there was no looking back. Baylor is not a good football team.
No, they're not. And that same Baylor that's not a good football team put up 59 points against Texas Tech.
Their defense is, I wouldn't say worse in the league, but it's pretty darn close.
It's fallen off a cliff the last 2 weeks, that's for certain.
Yeah.
I mean, giving up 59 points to Baylor is bad.
Giving up 59 points to anybody isn't good.
Giving up 59 points to anybody isn't good. I don't care if it's 2019 LSU, giving up 59 points is bad. Giving up 59 points to Baylor, I don't care if you're Bishop Sycamore. That's bad.
Oh, boy.
But they probably secured Dave Aranda's job for another year, so maybe they did give Baylor an L after all.
You know, I almost feel bad for Baylor. Just a little bit.
They're in the exact same problem that UCF is, where their coach is doing just barely good enough to not get fired.
And West Virginia.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Neil Brown might not be there at the end of the season.
I'm sorry, Noah. I do feel bad for you.
Yeah, I don't know. No, Florida's kind of in that situation too, since UCF let them beat them, and now they're going to be stuck with Billy Napier again, probably.
See, this is what I like to call the circle of suck.
This is going to be one of the most ridiculous coaching carousels ever this year because the coaches that should be gone won't be.
And then Alabama will probably find some reason to fire Kalen DeBoer, and then it's just going to be all over the place.
It's gonna be like after Nebraska moved on from Tom Osborne, and they just expect undefeated seasons, and they're not willing to settle for 9-3.
Well, why would they? They're Nebraska. They're the big program.
Yeah. How did Scott Frost do as a coach for you?
I don't think they want to talk about that.
They would have at least stayed a winning program if they kept Bo Pelini.
Maybe.
I'm not wrong.
Allegedly. Only allegedly.
I think they would have. At least Bo Pelini could recruit.
Yeah.
Here's another interesting facet with those Baylor and TCU games. So after this, Texas Tech makes a complaint to the league that the helmet comms between the coach and the quarterback, or the coach and the linebacker, that the communication channels aren't encrypted, and that like you can have like a scanner from the 90s that was bought at Radio Shack and hear their communications.
I guess we got to call it McGuire Gate or something like that now.
Yeah. Turns out the Big 12 said that none of those games were compromised and that none of the communications were actually compromised. But now McGuire has no excuse to Jerome Tang his way out of this one because the Big 12 made all of their teams send in their helmet, or not the helmets, but the communication equipment to the manufacturer to get them software updates so that they're encrypted now.
Yeah.
So they can't say that Iowa State is stealing their signals or anything.
Oh man.
So there's none of this Jerome Tang nonsense, none of this Connor Stallions nonsense.
Hey, I saw Kim Tang getting back in it on Twitter.
What now?
Oh, she was just responding to people talking about I don't remember the exact thread.
I mean, basketball season starts on Monday.
People were making fun of just bringing back up the Kansas State stuff about how none of it was legit. And she, of course, had to jump right back into the fray.
Oh, yeah, I saw some other guy jumping into that. It was in response to all this stuff, they were accusing Iowa State of beating cheaters again, and that's why Texas Tech chose now to come forward about all that. And I was like, really? That's your logic is based on a completely debunked thing from a different sport last year with staffs that have almost no interaction with each other at all?
I don't know. TJ Otzelberger wearing that medium tee. He might be hiding a little camera in there.
Yeah, I'm sure a camera could fit in there.
You got to follow the logic, Matt.
Yeah.
Or lack thereof.
I was gonna say lack thereof. That's K-State for you. lack thereof of logic. Quit feeding your brain wheat. Get corn. It's better. Beef. Get some corn. You get some pork. Maybe some turkey too. We produce a lot of that here in Iowa too.
Yeah, lots of eggs. Nation's
Lots of
leader
eggs.
in eggs.
Lots of eggs. Get yourself a good egg, turkey, bacon.
Yeah, might as well throw some steak in there.
Yeah, we do produce a lot of beef. Throw some cornbread in there. That's a good breakfast right there.
That is a good breakfast.
That's a breakfast of champions right there. That's the kind of breakfast that's going to get Iowa State to the college football playoff.
You're darn right it is.
Yeah, eat more ham and bacon.
Of course.
Purchase more ham and bacon.
Gotta
purchase more ham and bacon. Yeah. But, Big 12 games, definitely not compromised. And if there was any doubt before, there ain't now. 2:30 tomorrow on ESPN if you're not watching it at Jack Trice Stadium for some reason. If you're too far away or some other tragedy like that and you can't be there in person gloriously, it'll be on ESPN. Spread according to FanDuel is ISU minus 13.5. Over under is 56.5. Blake's pick, he sent that in. He's got Texas Tech covering the spread plus 13.5, under 56.5. His score prediction was 28-21. Jonah, what did you have for yours?
You see, I got faith in our team. I've got us covering 13.5 with the final score of 35-21.
Sticking with the trend here. There's only been 2 games so far this year that we haven't covered.
Yep.
We are 5-2 against the spread. As for me, I think the spread is really high.
It does seem like a lot.
It is a wide spread. The money right now is going 58% to Texas Tech against the spread here.
Yeah, I'm not surprised with that one.
So I'm going to go with the money on that one. So I'm going to go Texas Tech plus 13.5. I'm going to go against the money, though, here on the over-under. Only 34% of it is going for the under. I am going to go with the under on that. I've got a final score of 28-17 Cyclones.
Also, I don't appreciate you calling me out for not being able to go to the game because I finally get to talk about the sport that you guys never talk about on this podcast, the Iowa State men's rugby team.
Oh, what are they up to now?
We have our first round of the conference tournament against Kansas on Saturday. Don't mind me being special and not remembering the time. I just know I know we're leaving at 10:30, so that's the most important thing.
I mean, if you're on the team, then I guess the bus time is moderately important. Just moderately,
Yep, 1 p.m. kickoff in Des Moines against Kansas, who has been talking trash already.
Yeah, that sounds like Kansas. But at least Kansas generally, when they trash talk anything, they tend to be good at it. Like, I respect them for that. They're good at trash talk.
We had to redact our score against Nebraska, so I'm not allowed to talk about it, but we beat them so badly we couldn't even post the score.
Oh, my goodness. I may need to hear that one once the microphones are off.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, let's get into the one sport right now that's just full of bad news before we go talk about basketball, because that's good news.
Yep.
Volleyball. Rough week. I imagine it doesn't get any better tonight. Sunday, day game at Hilton Coliseum. Farmageddon. We lost it in 5. Alternated sets. Maya Duckworth and Pam McCune were back for this game, which was really nice because we had been depleted pretty badly in terms of injuries for volleyball. Nayeli's still out for the season. Maya played in 4 sets. McCune played in 3. Now, when the ball went Maya's way, she played it well. She played in the 4 sets that I mentioned. 9 kills on 18 attacks, no errors. I mean, if you're hitting 500 as an outside hitter, I'm not quite sure why we're only sending you the ball 18 times.
I mean, you got to keep in mind she's just coming back from injury. I understand that you're wanting to test her out, but you're also not trying to just use her constantly. You've got all these people who have been playing together for the last number of weeks.
At some point, though, what you also see, like, when things are going well, they're going well, so you can continue to do the things that are working.
Yeah.
If re-injury risk was a higher problem, I don't think she would have been hitting that well to begin with.
I'm just saying, when you come back from injury, there's bound to be a little bit of injury management.
Right. And then also McCune coming back from illness. 7 kills in 3 sets from the middle. She hit 400. That's a good offensive day from the middle. Although defensively it wasn't exactly her day, only managing 2 blocks, which is well below her usual performance. I mean, she's put double digits up multiple times for blocks. I mean, double digits is kind of crazy, but that's what McCune does.
Yep.
So only 2 is a bit of a slow day for her. We struggled very much to block one of K-State's players here, and I have not seen a single player burn the ISU defense on the volleyball court that badly in a single match before. But Aaliyah Carter for K-State just smoked us. 32 kills on a staggering 87 attacks.
That's just gross.
You got to have a sore shoulder after that. I mean, that's the same kind of shoulder motion. If you're like a pitcher in the major leagues and you're throwing 87 pitches, that's going to have roughly the same kind of shoulder impact.
I mean,
you're going to be tired
more because the amount of force that you're having to put in when you're slamming it down, like, I don't know.
I would imagine it's roughly similar because like the ball itself is probably a little bit bigger, but at the same time most of your arm motion doesn't have that weight.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a jolt at the end probably makes it a little bit harder on your shoulder, but you don't have the dead weight of the ball to carry like you do when you're pitching a baseball. Although, I mean, I don't know. There's probably a doctor somewhere that's studied that, or a physical therapist or somebody. I don't know. Weird things that y'all can look into if you discover that you have the free time for it. That I know you definitely don't have the free time for it. Or if you do have the free time, then you just go back and rewatch an older episode of Cornfield Sports Pod, because even though they're not up to date anymore, they're still amazing content. Good old shameless self-plugs.
It happens.
Yeah. Aaliyah Carter, though, alongside those 32 kills, 3 aces and 2 blocks, made for 36 total points that were attributed to Carter. And the thing is, though, we could have seen it coming and prepared for her a little bit better. She's second in the Big 12 with 4.16 kills per set. So that kind of leads you to think you need to game plan around her a little bit, because you know they're going to send the ball her way a lot. That's 4.16 kills per set. If you have a 4-set match, that's over 20 kills. You're looking at either 20 or 21 kills just across 4 sets. And she hit ahead of that pace because your 5th set is shorter. And even if you take that 32 and you divide it by 5, that's over 6. So well ahead of pace. We were not defending Carter well at all. And that makes me think, should we have been going up with a triple block more option to try to deal with her, or because we just didn't have an answer. And she was beating us on every part of the court, too. It didn't matter whether she was going down the line or going across.
I mean, when you got an elite player, you just got to keep giving her the ball, and she'll either find a way to score points or she's taking away attention from everybody else on the court. So, yeah, sending triple blockers might have mitigated her ability to score.
Right, and it's not like Kansas State doesn't have other hitters.
Yeah.
Not ones that are as good as Carter, but they had a couple others that were in double digits in kills that, they're there. Mm-hmm. They can do some damage. And speaking of damage, don't watch set 5 if you have heart problems because it'll cause heart damage. The cardiac clones managed to survive a lot of heart attack situations, not this one. They set 5 managed to it was one of the craziest back and forths at the end of a set I've ever seen. Certainly the one that I've got the most investment into as a fan, which makes it more stressful. I don't know if it's quite as crazy as Oregon-Nebraska in the 2022 NCAA tournament, where that one went into, that one was 6 or 7, or no, that was like 14 extra points maybe or something, was it like that? I was going
to say, there was a lot.
That one was a lot, because I remember Nebraska had defensive specialists in the front row because they ran out of substitutions in that one. But that one was crazy. But, I mean, Iowa State, we had 6 set points. 6 set points. And that was before K-State had a single one.
You got to be able to finish it off, especially you'd think you got a little bit of momentum if you got 6 set points. 6 set points.
That's too many opportunities to not be able to score 2 points in a row on any of them. And then, after that, K-State had 3 set points on the third one. The game ended on a attack error from Morgan Brandt, our setter, who managed to dump it all the way out the back line. In my opinion, what wasn't a great attack decision in the first place. I didn't think she had a good window to dump it at all.
I mean, if you're dumping, you really shouldn't be hitting it anywhere near that far anyways.
No, that should be dropping somewhere near the 10-foot line. There should be about 20 feet between where that ball lands and the back line. So that one was a very difficult way to end a very difficult game. That should not have been as difficult as it was. Again, it's not like K-State is a strong team. We still have a better record than they do.
Like, they're not world beaters by any means, but
they're like 7-13. We're 9-11.
It's like we got really good pieces.
We'll be 9-12 probably after tonight, but
we got really good pieces right now. We're just not healthy, and we have no momentum.
Yeah, we need Maya to be that elite hitter that she was as a freshman. We need that right now. But we also need some kind of a counterbalance because not having Nayeli right now it's showing itself to be a pretty serious problem. And that's not one that we're going to be able to remedy. We're not going to have Nayeli back this season. But part of the reason that Maya was so successful as a freshman was also having Eleanor on the court. So that was a very dangerous 1-2 punch. And with both of them always being on the floor in that 6-2 rotation that Christie ran in 2022, it made things it gave Maya a lot of opportunities. And it opened up a lot of opportunities for her and Eleanor because defenses had to give consideration to both of them. And Nayeli's style of play reminds me a lot of Eleanor's. But without Nayeli on the court, it does draw more focus to our other attackers, who, they're still good players, but they're not going to be that leader. And we didn't look the part Wednesday night against Baylor either. Lost it in Waco, 1-3, and the sets that we lost were bad. They were real bad. Choked a late lead in set 1. It allowed a 6-1 Baylor run to flip that lead. And then in sets 2 and 4, obliterated. We lost set 2, 18-25. We lost set 4, 16-25. And in that set 4, surrendered a 7-1 run after being tied at 7, and then we ended that set by allowing the Bears to have a 5-1 run.
At least we won set 3.
Yeah. That's a third of the ones that we lost.
Well, not a sweep.
Yeah, not a sweep. We're not making the NCAA tournament this year. Not unless we were to, find a magic switch and somehow win every game for the rest of the season.
You know what? You need to become irrationally hopeful.
You're right, I do. But I'm a Cyclone, so I don't have that capability. It's worse than, battered Aggie syndrome.
Oh, boy.
It really is. Except during basketball season. That we don't have that during basketball season.
Nope, we're just happy.
Or wrestling. We don't have that during wrestling. We just assume we're going to win everything during wrestling. And then most of the time we do. You
got to be so overconfident that even when it doesn't go your way, you can still say, no, it's fine. We'll be all right. We just got to keep winning.
Yeah, we need that. Although half the time that results in the fan base just blaming it on the refs. When it's actually not their fault for once.
I mean, the refs are an easy target.
They are an easy target. And half the time when the fan base blames them, the fan base is right. But the other half of the time when the fan base blames the refs, the fan base is wrong. So when you start diving into that overconfidence, that balance shifts a little bit, and it's not on the fan base's side. Yeah, extreme inconsistency though, in the way that Iowa State's been playing. I feel like a broken record saying this over and over again, talking about our inconsistency. Our offensive highs for the team are fantastic. Nothing to complain about in set 2. Hitting 394, it's not sustainable hitting that high. But I'm not going to complain about that ever. You will not see me complain about that. We played good defense in set 2 as well. Baylor didn't even hit 200. But 16 kills and 3 errors was what we hit in set 2. They were both best in the match for ISU. The 16 kills was actually better than any of Baylor's sets either. And the 394 attack rate was also a game best for either team across any set. But ISU hits in the high 300s often enough in individual sets that it's not fluky. We're not consistent, but we're not fluky either. Because we'll do it once a game, but then we'll hit at 112 for 2 sets. And that's the problem, is that we have a team that's capable of playing offense really well. They just don't the majority of the time. And yeah, we dilute great sets because we play some great sets. Set 3 at Baylor, that was a great set. Sets 2 and 4 were awful. Set 1 was meh.
You got to be able to get some sort of consistency there. I know you got young pieces, but somebody needs to stand up, be that leader, and just keep it.
Well, most of the pieces that are actively playing on this team have been there for a while. It's mostly juniors and seniors. Morgan's a junior. Lily's a junior. Maya's a junior. Brooks a senior. Tierney's a junior.
The weird thing
Amiri's a junior.
They're playing really like they're young players. It's strange. It's like they've never played together before.
It's like watching mostly freshmen. You want to make the freshman excuse? Okay, Emily Bobbitt and Rachel Van Gorp, you have an excuse. Pam's a sophomore. She has an excuse, although Pam's actually been playing pretty well. So she doesn't actually need the excuse, even though I guess she does have it. And I guess Rachel Van Gorp also just got newcomer of the week for Big 12, even though we haven't been playing good lately. So I guess she doesn't really need to bother about using that excuse either. But the experienced pieces on this team, we need to be seeing more out of them.
We really do. It's something that's got to come, you'd think. But they just look demoralized out there at times.
Yeah. It's letting the emotions get better of them on the court. Getting down on themselves and not trusting themselves to go out there and get the job done. Definitely appears to be a factor. But it needs to not be a factor. Tonight in Fort Worth at TCU, biggest question for this game, how do the Cyclones deal with Melanie Parra? Parra is a better hitter than Aaliyah Carter. She's the number one hitter in the Big 12, and it's by a pretty wide margin. She is averaging over 5 kills a set. And I just got done talking with the problems that we had defending against Aaliyah Carter. So the question now, does Iowa State learn from their struggles against Carter and make adjustments in order to deal with Parra? Or was that game film from Iowa State K-State a demo in how Parra can exploit our defense? And I think that we're going to end up seeing probably one of those very distinctively tonight, and that's going to be how that game goes. Either Iowa State will have a counter worked up and be able to keep the game close, maybe even win it if we're lucky. If it doesn't go that way, consider it a TCU sweep. But the other thing is TCU's been a difficult environment to play in this year.
They got a really good team together.
They have a good team. They're 10-1 at home. Their lone loss at home. Shoot, I don't think it's is it a conference loss? I don't remember. I don't have the Big 12 page open with the standings for that. But generally speaking, TCU is more formidable of a team than K-State, just generally speaking. TCU, they hold opponents to below 200 hitting. K-State doesn't do that. TCU swings for 265 themselves. K-State is like 210 or something like that, 212 maybe. It wasn't a lot. And they're tied for third in the Big 12 while we're sitting tied for ninth. We're not. Yeah, there's a noticeable difference in standing between these two teams this year.
It was I got it here. They got swept by Arizona State.
Okay, home. That makes sense. And Arizona State's they're actually a contender because Arizona State's got 2 losses on the year, and I think one of them is Kansas. It's Arizona State's got a quality team this year. Arizona State and Kansas are the top of the league, no question about that. Not in that order. Kansas is on top of Arizona State, but that's definitely where that is sitting, though.
Dang it!
All right, let's get to some better news here. Basketball is starting up. Season officially starts on Monday. Jonah women's basketball had a exhibition game here on Wednesday that you were at.
Yeah, it was a good environment, of course. Got the win, 105-53.
A good environment for an exhibition is something that basically no program is going to say.
The thing about that good environment was there was a lot of Central College people there, lots of students.
It's not a far drive for them.
No, it's not. But I'd say the student population was about 50-50 for Iowa State and Central. But It was fun. We were, of course, being hooligans down there in the front row. Their coach was really trying not to laugh. It was
that sounds like us during basketball season.
But yeah, the starters for the game was Audie Crooks, Addie Brown, Ariana Jackson, Kelsey Jones, and Emily Ryan. So I would like to see them starting. I didn't think that Kelsey played a particularly awesome game. It felt like something just didn't seem quite right.
Like she's starter number 5.
Yeah. And I thought that, oh goodness, I'm blanking. Regan Wilson played, or Regan Wilson?
Reagan?
Yeah, Reagan. I thought she played a really good game. Her shots were falling. She had her nice face mask on.
Yeah. I think that some of that's probably seniority.
Yeah.
With Kelsey being a sophomore and the other ones being newcomers. That does make a little bit of a difference with an exhibition. And Fenn had intended on playing everybody regardless. And since Emily, Kelsey, Ariana, Addie, and Audie have all played with each other before and have a year of experience or more in Emily's case under their belts, but a year with each other, to open the game up with that makes some sense. And then you feed the newcomers into that.
I mean, Emily, too, like, it didn't matter how much we were up by. She's still flying around, looking for blocks, looking to feed everybody. And the thing that I found very good to see was she wasn't afraid to shoot. There was a couple of possessions where there was one for sure where I think she took three-point attempts until she finally got one. So being able to be that scorer when normally she's just the facilitator, it was really good to see.
Well, she's definitely had games, though, where she's stepped up and been a scorer. Like, that's nothing that's new to her by any means.
I'm just saying, it's good to see, especially in an exhibition game, because a lot of times teams don't take them seriously. Being able to beat them
it's either you don't take
points.
them seriously or you see how fast you can put up 100-piece.
Yeah.
Which we did. So, Audie Crooks put up 20 points in 17 minutes played, I'm seeing here. That's
free throws were rough, though. I think we shot probably, I don't have the exact box score, but we shot probably 10 free throws, and I don't think we made 50% of them.
Ugh.
It was bad.
Who was shooting them, though? That's the question.
Alyssa Williams shot like 6, I want to say.
I was going to say, if you were going to tell me that Emily Ryan and Kelsey Jones were missing free shots, that would have me worried.
They didn't shoot any.
I was going to say, because Emily Ryan's like a 90% free throw shooter.
I think
if she was dropping to like 50%, that would have me worried, because that's a lot of points over the course of the season.
I think Audie went either 1 for 2 or 3 for 4. So you'd like to see free throws get made. That was something that the team in general, aside from a few pieces, struggled with last year. But yeah, I'd like to see that be more consistent. But yeah, Alyssa Williams did play really well. She picked up the double-double in her debut.
Well, debut-ish. It is an exhibition.
Yeah, debut-ish. But 13 points, 10 rebounds, still really good.
What's the name of the Helen Keller, A&M, or whoever they're playing on Monday? Chicago State. That'll be her actual debut.
Allegedly, it's the first time we've seen her live.
It'll be her first actual game with Iowa State.
That's true.
And considering it's Chicago State, she'll get playing time.
Oh yeah,
that's not something she's gonna have to worry about. Pretty sure everybody will get playing time in that game. Well, maybe they even drop another 100-piece.
I sure hope so. That was fun.
Oh, it is. I love when women's basketball teams do that.
And I mean, like, Central College, they're no slouches. They had a lot of girls on that team. They could shoot pretty well when they weren't just completely smothered by
for
pressure.
a D3, yeah.
Yeah, and they played hard. Like, it didn't matter. When we were up by 50, they're still diving on the ground, making good plays, just fighting for rebounds. Like, there was no quitting that team.
I mean, they're at that point when you're D3, you're out there to, and you've got the opportunity to be out there with D1 players. You just go out there and you make the most of it because you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
For that reason alone, it's literally just because you can. Your chance to play in a big arena under bright lights and, with a jumbotron over your head. Like, they don't get to do that at Central.
A very beautiful jumbotron, would like to add.
Indeed. It is quite a gorgeous jumbotron. It is much better than that old, ugly, double-stacked piece of junk.
That one of the screens didn't work on most of the time.
One of them? What do you mean one?
Several. Okay. Sorry.
They all had their issues. They just all had different issues.
What, you telling me you didn't like the flickery one?
What about the clock panel that had funny colors?
No, that was fine.
Or the panel on the backside that was always about a half a second behind.
Yeah, I never saw it. Not my problem.
At an angle, it was bad.
It's replaced now, so now we don't have to worry about it.
The new one looks much, much better. And if y'all weren't at the exhibition, next chance to get to see that thing is actually Monday versus Chicago State at 11 a.m. So skip school, skip work, unless you're me, because my work is already mad enough at my scheduling. So I'm not going to be able to make it to that game. But that one will be 11 a.m. at Hilton Coliseum on ESPN+. And then next one after that will be Thursday against Indiana State, 6:30 p.m., also on ESPN+. Men's basketball. All the scrimmages for that one have been secret scrimmages, and there have been some alleged scores reported, but nothing of any sort of substance. Nothing that can be verified. So the big updates that we really have as far as the men's basketball program, aside from them starting their season on Monday, Tyrese Halliburton, who won an Olympic gold with Team USA basketball over the summer, he will be getting an Olympic banner dropped in Hilton on March 1st. What a way to start March.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be insane. Especially if the team's doing well.
Yeah, and that'll be the Cyclones will be hosting Arizona that day, and it'll be interesting. Tyrese Halliburton will actually be the first Cyclone to be recognized for a team gold, and not an individual gold. Because you can't win an individual gold in basketball.
I tell you what, though, Cyclones win.
That we do. You know what? They should add like a 3-point shooting competition or something at the Olympics just so that you can like individually medal in basketball.
That would be fun.
Or, I guess a dunk contest is kind of subjective. So It would be you'd make fun of it the same way we make fun of breakdancing. That was so dumb.
Don't even bring that up.
Too late. I brought it up.
Not the kangaroo hops.
That was so bad. Olympic breakdancing was incredibly bad. Almost as bad as Texas Tech's chance of beating us tomorrow on the gridiron. Follow the Cornfield Sports Pod on Twitter at CSportsPod. Blake, you can find him at Blake Attack 1846. Jonah, where can they find you at?
They can find me at jmonarnock on Twitter. I am the Cycloneer Stan.
All right, and of course you can find me at sfmattisu. Tap the follow button on Spotify, plus button on Apple. We're also, been about a month now, available on Amazon, CastBox, and Good Pods. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube and Rumble. Turn on notifications. For Blake Peterson, I'm Matt Menson. In the chair to my left is Jonah Monarnock, and this has been the Cornfield Sports Pod.